Hey, how's it going? I'm Patrick Ledgerd. I'm a sales engineer here at Thycotic. So Thycotic is a privileged access management company. We are password management that's based on existing Windows infrastructure. So we use SQL IIS, or SQL on the back end and IIS on the front end. It's a database to securely vault your credentials. So think of it at its core level as a vault, and we store our secrets inside of that vault. So a secret is basically a password with enough metadata to be able to manage that password. So you can use our existing file structure on the left. So you apply your permissions to the file structure. You can use users specific to the application, or you can connect to Active Directory and use Active Directory users or Active Directory security groups to decide who will have access to those passwords. So if we steer through the product here a little bit, like I said, you've got your folders, and then inside those folders you've got your secrets. So most typically what we vault inside of our application is going to be Windows local accounts, or it's going to be service accounts that run on the domain. One of the key differentiators between us and other vaults is the automation that we can apply to those accounts. So I'll just show you here one of our really cool features that we call Discovery. So you can use a Active Directory source. You talk to an Active Directory domain controller, and then we go out per OU and tell you, all right, here's the machine, here's the account running on that machine, and here's the service that's being run by that account. In this case, this is the local account, so we can do the same for local administrator accounts, but we can also do it for domain service accounts. So like I said, it's the machine and then the account running on that machine and then the service being run by that account. And then it'll tell you the status of whether it's managed. When you first set up our product, they'll all be shown as unmanaged, but then you kind of bring them in either one by manually importing them, or you can create a rule that automatically imports these dependencies, associates them with the correct account, and then puts that account in the folder that you want so that the right people in your organization have access to those credentials for the account. So one of the really big problems that we see corporations facing is having to rotate those service account passwords without breaking the services that they're being used to authenticate. So if you look, we've got this service account in its domain, and then we've got a list of all the dependencies that are being run using those credentials. So when we go to change that service account's password, we can change it manually here, or we can set up a scheduled change so that it happens every 30, 60, 90 days, whatever is compliant with your organization's requirements. And then when you change that password, all of the services that use that password also get the updated credentials. So we'll talk to your backup agent and say, okay, here's the new password for the credentials that it needs to run the backup. And then when you go to initiate the password change, that endpoint then has its password that it uses changed as well. So another big piece that we can do password changing for is SQL accounts. So we can change SQL account passwords without ever having to restart the SQL service. So you can do things like, if you have a very secure SQL database and you want a one-time password for that SQL access, then we can go in and we can change the SQL password per each instance of viewing that password. So you can set what we call checkout on that credential, and then once it's checked out, it's exclusively viewable by the user who's checked it out. So the password that they get is going to be unique, and they'll only have so long to view the password. You can set a specific time frame, and then once they're done, you check it back in, and that password will get changed.